The book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren.
Come here. Come here. Hey, bro, come here. Yeah, read.
By the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by renewing of your mind.
Now the scriptures say you got to be transformed. Don't be conformed to this world, right? So here's a question for you. The Olympics is going on right now, right? Is that okay according to God to partake in that? Give me a second, Maccabees, chapter 1. Anybody? Come close. Let's converse, guys. I don't need to stay too far away. It's a simple question. Is it okay to partake in the Olympics? Huh? You're gonna guess no. You guess right.
The book of 1 Maccabees. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian.
Who's Alexander?
But I heard of Alexander.
Alexander the Greek, right? Yep. You heard that name before. You never thought that name was in the Bible, did you?
No, I wouldn't have thought it.
Because the church is not teaching you the Bible. Read.
Who came out of the land of Chedum, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece.
So King Alexander was the first, chapter verse 7, was the first Edomite king to assemble all the white nations and create all the white tribes and create a nation out of them. You understand that?
Verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
So after Alexander reigned, after he conquered the whole world, he died after that. Read.
And his servants bare rule, everyone in his place.
So he had a lot of generals, but there's 4 main generals that parted his kingdom. Okay? Each one took a portion of the kingdom and ruled. Read.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves.
Read.
So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth.
What was multiplied in the earth?
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
So the earth was already wicked. But when these men ruled, evils multiplied. They took evil to the 3rd power. Read.
And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
Read.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
Stop. While the Greeks were ruling, out of Israel went out a group of wicked men. Remember, evil was multiplied under the Greeks, and wicked men came out of Israel. Let's see the relations between these two. Read.
Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
Now, stop for a second. Israel, we're supposed to follow the laws of God, right? So which means we're not supposed to be in league with other nations that when they rule, evil is multiplied. That's why I say wicked ones came out of Israel. So what you're going to find out amongst us, amongst our people, there are many wicked men who more than happy to follow the custom of the heathen. They love it. And there's nothing you're going to tell them to change that either. Read.
For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
So they went and sat down with the king and agreed on something. So the king actually liked their thought and give them license to go do that thing. Let's see what was the thing. Read.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise.
A place of what?
A place of exercise.
What do you call a place of exercise today?
Gym. Yeah.
Gymnasium, right? Do you know what the word gymnasium actually means? It's a Greek word. Place to be naked. Because in those times, how did they partake in sports? But naked. That's why you see all of them statues in Greece. They don't have clothes on. Holding the discus, butt naked. Javelin, butt naked. And today, when you go in the gym, even though we call it so-called clothes, because a legging is underwear. Because when you go to a gym, you can see everything on that female. They're still naked in the gym. The Olympics, the gymnasts, when they do those splits, you see everything. What they're wearing on, that's not clothes. That's just kind of like a second skin. You understand? That's in the Bible. Read.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen.
Stop. According to whose custom?
The customs of the heathen.
So it is not an Israelite custom to be all up in the gym. Gym was not a custom. That was the custom of the heathen. The Greeks brought that about. Read.
And made themselves uncircumcised.
How do they make themselves uncircumcised? Because they stopped following the laws of God and going and follow the manners of the heathen instead. Read.
And forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves.
They forsook the holy covenant, right? Like today, right now in Rio, the Olympic is going on, right? But hold up, ain't today the Sabbath day?
Saturday.
So we're supposed to be keeping this day holy, right? Not in the park playing basketball, not playing football, soccer. Go to 2 Maccabees. 2 Maccabees chapter 4, start verse 12. Because the problem up with our people is money. We want fame, we want fortunes. The 3 F's. And that's why we in all those different custom out there, which are not our custom. Read.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 12. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief
Start from
10.
Start from 9.
9. The book of Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 9. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise.
Stop. This is one of those wicked men who left our people and went and made a league with the heathen. So he made a league with the heathen so he could have permission to do specific things. Read.
And for the training up of youth.
Start. Read it from the beginning again.
Verse 9. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise, and for training up of youth in the fashions of the heathen.
So that wicked man went to make a league with the king, and one of the things he wanted was a license to build a place of exercise in Israel, to raise up our kids to become like the heathen. That's not what we're doing today. How many parents spending thousands of dollars to make sure their kids go pro? Every Saturday, basketball camp. Sports. That's all they care about, because guess what? They're looking for their next ticket out the ghetto. So money is the reason why we choose to accept the manners of the heathen, because we are envious of them instead. We refuse to keep our laws because we don't think we could become millionaires keeping our laws. We see the wickedness the heathens are doing, and they're prospering in it, therefore we do the same thing too. Because we are envious. Read.
And to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians.
So he wanted to name those group of kids after the names of the heathen. He wanted to change them into a byword. How are you going to name your son after a wicked man? Does that make sense? Because remember, it says in 1 Maccabees, evils were multiplied. So as an Israelite, you should never want to call your kids by that name, or follow the custom that these people put in place. Read.
Which, verse 10, which when the king had granted, and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion.
So that's exactly what happened. We were brought up in captivity after the manners of the heathen. Everything we learn, everything we know, who taught it to us? Because what's written in this book, we're not following it. So whose custom are we following? The heathens. We can't continue like that. We must come back to the rule, to the law, statutes, and commandments of God to understand what is our custom, what is our way of living. Read.
And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amnesty and
Read it from the beginning again. I want to ask you a question. Pay attention to this verse.
And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews.
Stop. What is the royal privileges that is granted to those Jews who became the Antiochians? That start following in sports and stuff like that. You hit it right on the nail. We call it the 3 F's. Fame, fortune, and what's the last one? When you're an athlete, think about 3 things that start with F's that you guarantee to get. There you go. Fame, fortune, and females. That's the reason why we don't want to keep the laws of God. Because you see them biting on that piece of gold like, yes, I made it. Right? Because once you make that goal, what happened? You take that gold medal in the Olympics, what happened? You get commercials, you get TV, you come to TV shows, sit down for interviews. You understand? You get sneaker deals and stuff like that. You get sponsorship. So now you live nice. But the laws of God doesn't give you all that, even though the whole nation, the whole world is for us. We're gonna get that. But right now some people are not patient enough to wait. So they'd rather go make a league with the heathens and follow their custom instead. Read.
And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amnesty and aid, he took away, and putting down the governments which were according to the law.
So this man put down the Israelite government. Because why? They were living according to the laws. The things that he was bringing about, that government was not adhering to it. So he took it down because Rome gave him power. He made a league with the other nation to be able to come against his own people. That's wicked. And we have a lot of those wicked men today. Some of which that you probably honor. Like W.E. Du Bois. That's a wicked man because he went against Marcus Garvey, who wanted to bring his own people, raise his people up. Martin Luther King, that's a wicked man. He wanted us to become one with the other nations. Those are the same spirits. Refuse to follow the laws of God, but liking the fashion of the heathens more. So because of that, they're going to come against us who's teaching the laws of God, because we're teaching against the manners of the heathen.
That's right.
Read.
He brought up new customs against the law.
So those customs that was brought up are against the laws of God.
That's right.
Because in the laws of God, no man is supposed to be seeing your nakedness. You understand that? When you play sports like in college, there's the gel showers. After the game, everybody get butt naked and take a shower. That's against the laws of God. That's a custom of the heathen. Read.
For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself.
So that man built a gymnasium under the tower where we do the sacrifice in the temple of God. You understand how wicked that was? What that shows you, sports is replacing God. Because most kids are not in the church. They're not supposed to be in those whorehouse called churches, but they're supposed to be observing the laws, keeping God's commandments in the Bible, obeying the Sabbath. But right now, if you go to all the parks, what's going on? Basketball, soccer, football, whatever it is that they're doing. Or right now they're sitting home watching the Olympics on TV, praying and wishing one day that's gonna be me. And mama's happy to feed you, to spend money for you to go to practice so that way you can make it. But the only true way to make it is by coming to the law, statutes, and commandments of God, not by following the manners of the heathen. Read.
And brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat.
The chief young man was made to wear a hat. So you wonder where this custom come from with the hat that you're wearing right now. The only difference between that hat and back in the days and this one is that it didn't have a brim. So now in the hat, in the higher, come back here, bro. Read that verse for him again. Make them wear a hat.
Yep. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat.
And make them wear a hat. Back then there was no brim in that hat. That's what the athletes used to wear. Today, you got your baseball cap that you're wearing right now. Read.
Now, such was the height of Greek fashions, an increase of the heathenish manners, through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch,
So,
and no high priest.
a man who would decide to be in league with the other nation to bring heathenistic fashions unto his community, that man is a wicked man. Because he's bringing custom that's going to kill you. Not things that's going to give you life, but things that's going to destroy you. You understand? Read.
That the priests had no courage to serve anymore at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise.
So that's what's happening right now. You read that again.
That the priests had no courage to serve anymore at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise.
So that's exactly what's happening. Nobody wants to keep God's laws no more. Everybody turned what? To sports, watching TV. Because guess what? They want to see naked gymnasts doing backflips. Talking about, oh, she's great. No, you watching her nakedness. You want to see her muscles. That's a heathenistic custom. Read.
After the game of discus called them forth, not setting by the honors of their fathers.
So that's the problem. Who are fathers? Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel. All the prophets that's in the Bible. What's written in this book, that's what we were supposed to be following. But instead, what are we following? The manners of the heathen. Like back in the days, we went and watched a game of discus as opposed to keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Read.
But liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
That's the problem right there. We like the glory of the heathen more than we like the glory of the Bible. We don't love God. We love the heathens instead. Because why? We follow after their ways.